America's most livable cities, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where tonight, inside Fitzgerald Fieldhouse, the 24th ranked Pitt Panthers play host to the Miami Hurricanes. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough. It's great to have you with us for the first half of tonight's Big East ACC doubleheader. Now that the college football season is over, the Miami basketball Hurricanes have a chance to emerge from the considerable shadows cast by their football-playing brethren at the University of Miami. And the Miami Hoopsters wasted little time in doing just that. On January 2nd, as a matter of fact, they played host to the previously undefeated Georgetown Hoyas, who came in ranked 10th in the nation at 7-0, and the Hoyas went home with a loss. Stephen Edwards, the true freshman, at 19 points and a career-high 9 assists. He set up Constantine Popa for 2 of his career-high 16 points. Miami, with a stunning win, just their 3rd of the year. They are 3-6. It's their only win against a Division I opponent this year. Coach Leonard Hamilton, Clark Kellogg, says his team is schizophrenic, but Steve Edwards has not been.
For a first-year player, he's been remarkably consistent. Double-figure scoring in all 9 games. Leads the team in scoring. He's second in assists and steals, and he has an awful lot of fun when he's out there playing the game.
The Pitt Panthers are off to a great start at 8-1. They've won 6 in a row, led by Jerry McCullough, who's done a great job taking over for Sean Miller at the point.
You talk about the Panthers, they're scoring 87 points a game, and this is the Velcro that holds that running game together, leads them in points, assists, as well as steals. He's an outstanding small player.
Well, you heard Coach Valvano say Miami should be favored by 25 tonight. We'll find out if that is accurate when we come back to Fitzgerald Fieldhouse for Miami and Pitt right after this.
It's pretty simple, really. It's a car, so it comes from a place. Just so happens Europe. It's also a Volkswagen, so it comes from a belief that driving is passion, that a car isn't 2 tons of heartless steel and high technology, but a friend that takes care of you on good days and bad, that protects your kids and your spirit. The new V6 Passat Touring Sedan. Experience one at your Volkswagen retailer.
Final question, ladies. How would you save the planet?
Tax credits for education.
Aggressive environmental legislation. Which planet?
Why do pageants still grade on a curve?
Queen of the entire planet.
Try a beer that drinks like a light with real draft taste, Bud Dry. With a beer this different,
What a surprise.
it's no contest.
This week, Russ Beeler's in-laws came to Lake Edna, and how better to feed a group like this than the KFC Super Value Buckets. 15 pieces of the Colonel's original recipe, just $9.99, and super-sized buckets of zesty hot wing pieces, also $9.99. Super Value Buckets are here for a limited time.
And thankfully, so are my in-laws.
The KFC Super Value Buckets.
We are KFC, we do chicken right.
ESPN's NCAA basketball is brought to you by Volkswagen, who brings you 3 new cars engineered to recharge the human spirit. And by Bud Dry. For a beer that's refreshingly different, try Bud Dry.
Welcome back to Fitzgerald Fieldhouse on the campus of the University of Pittsburgh. The Panthers entertaining the Miami Hurricanes tonight. And a near-capacity crowd is on hand. Constantine Popa, the tallest player in Miami history, is starting to come around in his sophomore year.
He's a pretty skilled player, not very physical, but nonetheless, he can score and block shots.
Leonard Hamilton in his 3rd season at Miami after 4 years as head coach at Oklahoma State. Starting lineup he will face from Pittsburgh tonight features Chris McNeil, the reigning Big East Player of the Week.
Averaging 25 points and 11 boards in his last 2 outings, 19 of 31 field goals. He's been warm lately.
For Coach Paul Evans in his 7th season at Pittsburgh and off to an 8-1 start this year. Evans in his 20th year as a college head coach. Miami leads the series 8-6. Most of that was prior to the time when Miami dropped basketball. Basketball only returned to the Miami campus in 1985. Pitt won 2 out of 3 last year, but lost in a shocking upset in the Big East tournament at Madison Square Garden. Popa and Eric Mobley to jump center. Pitt in the home white. Jody Sylvester will throw it in the air, and we're underway. This is Jerry McCullough, the sophomore point guard from New York City. And Miami opens in man-to-man. They played almost entirely man-to-man throughout the first 9 games of the year. And Michael Gardner ahead of the field and lays it in. Ball was stolen by Steve Edwards, and Gardner took care of the rest.
Talk about Steve Edwards. He scored in double digits in all 9 games, second on the club in assist and steals. His quick hands lead to a hoop early for the Canes.
McCullough for 3. 3-2 Pittsburgh. And at the other end, the foul call. The basket will count, says Jody Sylvester.
That is not what you call a typical flush. It didn't go down on the initial jam try by Edwards, but the Canes, looking to push the ball ahead, beat the Panthers back that time. Expect a fast-paced game. The Hurricanes are going to play man-to-man. They're looking to keep the ball out of the paint, keep it out of McNeil's hands as well as out of Eric Mobley's hands in the colored area.
It's already 2 points and an assist for Edwards, and he fails to convert the 3-point opportunity. Miami leads 4-3. This is Marlon Rimes starting at the off guard tonight for Ahmed Sharif, who's sidelined with an ankle injury. Errant pass by McCullough. 2-on-1 Miami. Gardner doesn't shoot much.
You'll see motion in the half-court offense from Miami, so in order for that to be effective, they need ball reversals. Get it from one side to the other.
Popa stripped along the end line. McCullough knocked it out off Popa, and the ball goes back to Pitt.
One of the Big East leaders in steals is Jerry McCullough, just filtering in on Constantine Popa and forces the turnover on the deflection.
Along the baseline, Rimes powers it in. 5-4 Pitt. Up and down they go. That's a goaltending call.
The Panthers here early, they want to run, but not doing a good job running back defensively. Not seeing the ball, not finding people.
Trevor Burton credited with his first basket of the night. Eric Mobley was the goaltender. Miami by 1. Played 1 minute and 40 seconds.
You know, we talked to Leonard Hamilton this morning, and he talked about how this is the first game his Hurricanes have played where they're respected immediately by the opposition on the heels of beating Georgetown and also having knocked this Panther team out of last year's Big East tournament. So far, they're
the other end by Pat Lawrence, and that's a 3-point try way off by Steve Edwards. Jones lays it in. But you're right, Clark. Paul Evans said he thought the Pitt practices were much more spirited after Miami's upset of Georgetown. The Panthers had a bit more respect for the Hurricanes. These two teams have combined to go 6 for 7 from the floor. Both hot out of the gate. Edwards a strong drive. Mobley rejected it, but a foul's called by Sam Croft. Ted Valentine, the other official working tonight. Eric Mobley whistled for the foul.
There you see Leonard Hamilton has wiggled out of the jacket already, and we played 2.5 minutes. Nice lift of the ball of the defender with the ball fake. There's Steve Edwards to the rack and fouled by Mobley. Boy, I really like what I've seen already of Steve Edwards. Very loosey-goosey, relaxed, has a good first step, it seems. And I talked to him just before the game, and he says the thing he enjoys most about playing is passing the basketball. He wants to find open people.
Mr. Basketball in the state of Florida after his junior and senior years at Miami High School. And Miami's back up by a point following the 2 free throws. Gardner got a hand on the pass. McCullough tried to feed McNeil, who did track it down. Antoine Jones from down low. Mobley trying to muscle Popa, who held his ground. Gardner quickly into Popa. 8-foot hook is too strong, and the rebound's off the floor, picked up by McCullough. Nice pass to Jones, and he scores around Popa.
Jones was a medical redshirt last year, had a broken foot, sat out the whole year, and he really is one of the key contributors as the Panthers have gotten off to such a good early season start. Runs the floor extremely well, defends a couple of positions for you, and brings tremendous maturity and leadership.
He's come back from the injury to average 13 points per game through the first 9. That's the second highest scoring average on the team.
And he's shooting 67% from the floor by virtue of getting opportunity baskets in transition.
Pat Lawrence rattles it in. Both teams off to a strong start. 10-9 Miami as we pass the 3.5-minute mark. Grimes, a junior college transfer, lost it on the dribble. The 4th Pitt turnover already. Steve Edwards makes it hurt.
A nice gliding move, allowed the defender to go by and then just gently laid it up off the glass. Plays with an awful lot of moxie and fluidity.
And Edwards has 6 of the 12 Miami points. McNeil couldn't handle the pass that was forced in by McCullough. Edwards nearly lost it, then did to Mobley.
One of the things we'll have to watch, Sean, is that this pace is very quick, and Miami will only play 7 guys. The Panthers will go 8 to 10 deep.
The three-pointer by Marlon Rhymes is knotted this one to get a 12. Well, Miami will get a TV timeout on the next whistle, and they need it. As Edwards' pass sailed over the head of Lawrence. Rhymes short with it. Mobley too strong with it. McNeil fouled by Popa. Or perhaps it was from behind and against Steve Edwards. It is against Edwards.
Well, both teams sucking a little air here early. Adrenaline pumping, and certainly the pace has been a quick one.
And the point you made is a good one, because Leonard Hamilton's Chargers led Seton Hall by 14 points with 11 minutes to go, lost the game. They were up by as many as 17 against Georgia and lost by 2 after leading the Bulldogs for all but 35 seconds of that game. So they have had some notable collapses down the stretch due to a lack of depth.
Well, they've been running 6 furlong races when the distance is 1 mile and 70 yards.
Hammy Ward off the bench, number 23 for Constantine Popa. And Chris McNeil is at the line. He made 2, and we have our first TV timeout of the night. 14-12 Pittsburgh at Fitzgerald Fieldhouse.
Everybody hates to eat and run. We'd rather take it slow. But the way this life is going, gotta grab your food and go. And when all that running round catches up with you at last, get yourself some Alka-Seltzer and you'll feel better fast.
For acid indigestion or heartburn with headache, nothing's faster or more effective than Alka-Seltzer.
Get yourself some Alka-Seltzer and you'll feel better fast.
Use only as directed.
Domino's presents
something for nothing.
Now you get free Domino's Twisty Bread and our free salad when you order any large pizza with 1 or more toppings.
Something for nothing. Really something when you call Domino's.
It's a car. It's also a Volkswagen. So it comes from a belief that driving is passion, that a car isn't 2 tons of heartless steel and high technology, but a friend. The new V6 Passat Touring Sedan. Experience one at your Volkswagen retailer.
There's nothing better than winning a Super Bowl or a NASCAR race. But to finish strong, you have to start fresh. Interstate batteries are fresh. For factory fresh power, call 1-800-CRANK-IT. Start fresh with Interstate.
Through the first 4 minutes plus, both teams shooting 63%. And Pittsburgh leads by 2. The only blemish on the Panther record to this point, the 14-point loss at Georgetown. And Pitt has had a very favorable schedule, almost all of their action here at home.
And they've done quite well. That 66 points, a season low. I think they were They struggled terribly from the line in that game. 13 for 31, I think, they shot from the free throw line. Apart from that game, I mean, they're at 70% on the season, so apart from that poor performance, they're somewhere in the 72 to 74% range in free throw shooting. Too much time.
And Trevor Burton knocked it in. That's a 2-point field goal for Burton, a senior, playing for his hometown team. He hails from Miami. 14 all. Five that started the game still on the floor for Pitt. Chris McNeil from the top of the key.
We talked about McNeil at the top. He's played extremely well the last 2 games. He's a guy that needs to be more assertive. Has been the last 2 games. He scored 26 and 23 points against UCLA and Providence, but sometimes waits for the game to come to him a little too much.
Prior to those 2 games, he was only averaging 7 points per game.
And about 7 looks at the basket per game.
Down to 20 on the shot clock. Gardner nearly whistled for the 5-second call. Ward ran into Mobley, no whistle. Ward again, it wouldn't drop. McNeil ripped it down with one hand as he battled Pat Lawrence for it. McNeil right down the lane, missed the layup. Mobley kept it alive over the back, but Pat Lawrence there to squeeze it.
Well, pretty nice move by McNeil.
Jones got a hand on the pass. Ward again around Mobley, and it wasn't close. And Pope is ready to check back in for Miami. McCullough attacked as he went to the glass.
Talking about Chris McNeil, there you see what he's done on a per game basis by the game. Field goal attempts, 4 games he's attempted double-digit field goals, and in 5 games he scored double-digit points. So he needs more looks at the basket, and he's gotten them lately.
Neal, a senior from Richmond, Virginia. Jerry McCullough at the line.
He averages 9 free throw attempts per game, shooting 84% on the year. And that's excellent foul shooting as well as volume of free throws from your point guard. He's a tough little penetrator and a lot stronger than he appeared. Good long arms, he's rangy, and he loves to get inside and draw contact and get himself to the line.
A much better free throw shooter than he was last year. In his freshman year, he shot to 63% from the line. Jake Morton, who just checked in, number 13, turned it over on the errant pass.
Needed another bounce to create a better passing angle into the post.
17-14 Pittsburgh. 13 minutes to play in the first half. Mobley, the baseline move and the jam, and he was fouled by Konstantin Popa.
One of the things Leonard Hamilton and his team worked on in the shoot-around was to force post players back to the middle. Popa never gets to the baseline here. Take a look. Popa, who's thin enough to fit in a male slot, doesn't get to the baseline. And Mobley, with authority, sends it in.
And a whistle to stop the play. The clock shows 32 minutes remaining in the first half. So clearly there is a problem with the clock. That would certainly be to Leonard Hamilton's disadvantage in that he only plans to play 7 men tonight. Maybe Pitt knows that, so they're going to put a little extra time on the clock. A lot on our plate tomorrow night. A triple header of college basketball. It starts with Andy Kaufman in Illinois against Northwestern at 7:30 Eastern time. Then a great matchup from Springfield, Massachusetts. The UMass Minutemen playing host to Nick Van Exel in Cincinnati at 9:30. And the triple header is capped at midnight. Number 20 Arizona and number 15 UCLA. Mobley gets a chance for the three-point opportunity. Popa took it down. And you see they have fixed the clock. 5-point lead, largest for Pitt.
The last few possessions have been empty for the Hurricanes. Turnovers. Let's see if they can be patient here and execute their half-court offense with good movement and ball reversal. I don't know if they're going to be able to get much inside, so they've got to look at the perimeter shot when it presents itself.
Down to 15 on the shot clock. Popa bounced along the baseline, traveling. Leonard Hamilton's furious, and it's tough to tell whether or not it's with the officials or with Popa. I believe it's with the officials.
It certainly is the officials, because he feels that Popa was pushed.
Popa, you can see Mobley's going to try to muscle Popa tonight, and Leonard Hamilton is again working the officials. He better be careful. Gardner tracked it down in the corner. Each team has turned it over 5 times in fewer than 8 minutes. Jake Morton, who is a 50-year senior. Hammy Ward, blocked by Mobley underneath. McNeil was open and missed, and Mobley called for the foul coming over the back. 11:40 to play in the first half here in Pittsburgh. The Panthers lead by 5. That was the second foul on Eric Mobley.
Magic Moments, presented by Dodge. From a scrappy guard and 3-time All-America player in the 1930s at Purdue University to the Wizard of Westwood, John Wooden's entire life has been committed to basketball. For 4 decades, he controlled the sidelines at UCLA, guiding the Bruins to an unprecedented 10 national championships. John Wooden's basketball legacy was the scripting of innumerable magic moments.
When the automotive press hands out its awards, we want to be on the list. And Dodge has been on a lot of them. So we're hosting an award celebration sale. This Dodge Dakota, with its available Magnum engine, is deemed more powerful than almost every compact pickup you can buy. And now during our sale, you can save over $3,200 on a Dakota with an automatic. So come celebrate with us. Drive a Dakota LE at your nearest Dodge dealer today.
Now at Red Lobster, our classic event, Lobster Fest. Classic feasts with grilled lobster, rock lobster, and more. Lobster Fest, now at Red Lobster.
At BASF, we help make carpet you can work with.
Good night.
And carpet you can live with.
Honey, I'm home.
At BASF, we don't make the carpet, we make it better.
Miami trails by 5. The Hurricanes coming off the win over Georgetown. We asked Coach Leonard Hamilton about his team's frame of mind after the big upset.
Well, it's hard. You never know about a basketball team, but I think we're very focused. I think we're extremely intense going into the night's game. We did not play very well here last year, and I think we're looking forward to trying to redeem ourselves.
Didn't play very well here. Indeed, they got throttled twice by Pitt in the regular season by a margin of 52 points combined. But as we noted earlier, Miami came back from those 2 drubbings to beat Pitt in the first round of the Big East tournament.
And the key to that success in the 3rd meeting was the review of tape of the prior 2 meetings. And they really examined the fact and took a look at the fact that they had an awful lot of good shots and just didn't make them. Cut down their turnovers in the 3rd meeting and made some shots and got the upset.
And what great timing for that win from the Miami basketball program. One day after the disappointing loss for the folks in South Florida by the football Hurricanes to Alabama in the Sugar Bowl that gave Alabama the national championship. The Hurricanes with arguably their biggest basketball win since the program returned in 1985. Edwards lost it. Antoine Jones missed the acrobatic shot. It was forced off balance by the hustle of Trevor Burton. Miami's gone ice cold. Pitt in the midst of a 10-2 run. It helped the Panthers open up a 5-point lead as we took under 11 minutes remaining in the first half. Jake Morton. He was a first-team Jewish All-American last year. That's good from the top of the key. His first points.
Good opportunity jump shot, and I think the Canes have to be ready to shoot that shot more often. Mobley, even though he's not on the floor now, has really been a problem for the Hurricanes when they get it inside. So throw it inside, then kick it out and knock down your spot-up jump shot.
The only sub of the night for Pitt to this point, Brian Brush, who's in wearing number 15. McNeil. 2 more for Chris McNeil. He has 6. Balanced scoring to this point for the Panthers. Popa, the hook over McNeil. It's an air ball. Brush. Nice pass. And Jones stepped on the end line. Michael Gardner returns, replacing Jake Morton.
Here you take a look at Brush penetrating. There's Jones. Take a look. His whole body is out of bounds. And an easy call for the official.
Miami went more than 5 minutes without scoring prior to the last bucket by Jake Morton. Now Burton. McCullough got a hand on it, but Burton got it back.
They play Steve Edwards at a couple of positions. He'll handle it at the point. He's out top now with it. He'll also play some at the second guard and at the small forward spot. So he's a versatile player.
Played both guard spots in high school as well. Popa continues cold. He's 0 for 3 from the field. Marlon Rhymes, nice look to Brush. Blocked by Popa, and Popa is going to be called for another foul.
Sweet feed by Marlon Rhymes. On the penetration, he's able to draw defenders and then dump it inside to Brush. Here you take a look. No look, left hand wraparound to Brush, who goes strong to the cup. And Popa makes a nice play up top, but got him with the body, the little bit of body he has. He got Brush with all of it and picks up foul number 2.
Gave Brian more than a brush. Brian.
I knew there was a reason I was looking forward to hanging out with you.
It's great to be back with you for the first of many Big East ACC Wednesdays this winter on ESPN. Hammy Ward back in for Popa, who takes the seat with his 2 fouls.
Well, Leonard Hamilton has to shuffle 7 guys and try to keep anybody from playing more than 35 minutes. Gardner is averaging 34, as is Trevor Burton. But everybody else somewhere in the mid-20 range.
He might like to have Trevor Burbick to help him underneath. The Hurricanes also without O'Keal Swaby. They were already an undermanned squad. Swaby, a reserve forward, has decided to transfer. He just left the team yesterday, and he's going to transfer to Central Florida. So they're even more undermanned than usual. Pitt by 6 with 9:24 to play in the first half here in Pittsburgh.
Attention motorists. If your engine sounds like this, don't trade your car, trade your engine. Your car can feel like new with a precision remanufactured engine from Motorworks of Westbury and Valley Stream. Our expert technicians will replace your worn-out engine with a factory-tested remanufactured engine guaranteed for 12,000 miles. We're the nation's largest chain of engine installation centers. That's all we do. So whether you own a passenger car, van, truck, or commercial vehicle, call for a free price quote to change this into this. Motorworks of Westbury and Valley Stream.
Excitement, action, and laughs. Lethal Weapon 3 premiering this month on Cablevision's pay-per-view. Order this blockbuster hit, and you're automatically entered to win a Lethal Weapon video cassette double pack of parts 1 and 2, plus tickets to the New York Saints-Baltimore Thunder game, January 29th at the Nassau Coliseum, where the excitement of indoor lacrosse comes alive. To enter, simply order the movie or send a postcard to Cablevision, 111 Crossways Park West, Woodbury, New York, 11797. The New York Saints and pay-per-view, a winning combination. Enter now and get into the game.
Florida's Shane Matthews, Miami's Steve McGuire, and Texas Tech's Tracy Saul lead an all-star field when East meets West in the Japan Bowl. Saturday night at 10 Eastern, live on ESPN. Pick up the phone for the latest sports news from ESPN anytime, day or night.
95 cents per minute. Call 1-900-976-ESPN.
Welcome back to Fitzgerald Fieldhouse on the campus of the University of Pittsburgh. We mentioned the defection of O'Keal Swaby leaving to Central Florida, deciding to transfer. And Leonard Hamilton also has some players who could help him who are not available due to injury.
Well, you talk about incoming freshmen. You have to think about Steve Frazier, averaged 24 points a game out of Queens, New York, St. Thomas Prep. He's out for the season, tore his anterior cruciate ligament. There you take a look at Steve Frazier there. He won't be ready to go until next year. And then Shambi High also out with a sprained right foot. Anthony Lawrence has some tendonitis and a few extra LBs that he's working on reducing.
McNeil Too strong off the glass, rebounded by Pat Lawrence. William Davis is another promising freshman, a 7-foot center from Miami, who is yet to see action.
And he's not practiced very much in the last 5 weeks because of a partially torn anterior cruciate ligament. No surgery required.
Michael Gardner knocked in the 3. He now has 5 points. And the 3 is answered at the other end by Jerry McCullough. 7 points for McCullough. The quick miss by Burton and the rebound by McNeil. McCullough, great drive for 2.
Pausing, parking, and then put him away. The 3P move.
And the largest lead enjoyed by Pitt, 8 points as we tick down toward 8 minutes remaining in the first half. Gardner, another 3-point try. It bounces in. So back-to-back 3-pointers from Michael Gardner, the sophomore from Fredericksburg, Virginia, out of James Monroe High School.
I like the counter punching of the Miami Hurricanes. They're a team that's very confident and feels good about themselves right now. And even though they trail 5, they've stood up to the challenge of being a more respected opponent.
McNeil whistled for the travel. And a substitute as well. You see Orlando Antigua, number 44, in the background. He's come into the game for Antoine Jones. Antigua played a lot last year when Antoine Jones was out of action, but his minutes have been reduced now that Jones is back. And at the other end, the travel whistled against Steve Edwards. Edwards is the younger brother of Douglas Edwards, the Florida State standout, who you will see immediately following this game in the second half of our Big East ACC doubleheader. Doug Edwards and Florida State taking on Virginia right after this one is over.
And they've got a younger brother, Allen, who, according to Steve, the media thinks he'll be better than both he and Doug, but I didn't hear Steve say that. He said they say he should be better than us. Steve didn't agree with that. Steve didn't endorse that.
Grimes had it spin out. Did Steve tell you who he thought was the best of the 3?
No, he did not say, but if he's as good as what we've seen of Steve and Doug, then he's probably a pretty darn good player.
Pitt by 5, 7 minutes to play in the first half. Pitt by 3 as the turnaround jumper went in for Anthony Lawrence, who is back in action after sitting out the last 2 games with the tendonitis in his left knee that Clark spoke of. NBA 3 by McCullough, well short. Looks like Gardner got away with a walk. The 3 would tie it. Gardner was short with it. Antigua the rebound. 3-on-2. Grimes. Brush hit the floor hard on the rebound action, and the officials disagreed about the foul call. One pointed to Brush, the other pointed to Hammy Ward of Miami, and that's who the foul is called against, Ward.
Well, Brush came flying out of the picture, and typically that means somebody shoved him. And Hammy Ward the guilty party. He had taken a look at the beginning of the play.
Off the inbound play, McCullough missed from 3-point range. Still Pitt by 3, 6:20 to play in the half. Trevor Burton watched Antigua go flying by. Anthony Lawrence, too many jumps. He is the older brother of Pat Lawrence. Anthony's a senior. Pat's a sophomore. Anthony just committed the 9th Miami turnover.
And most of those turnovers have been the walking variety. I'd venture to say 4 or 5 of the 9 turnovers have been traveling calls. A little anxious when they catch the ball inside, and part of that created by the presence of Mobley early.
Rhymes for 2 more. Marlon Rhymes having a big first half. 7 points for Rhymes, playing for the injured Ahmed Sharif.
He had a career-high 19 in the game Saturday against Providence, and has shown the ability not only to spot up shoot, but to create his own offense as well.
Well, the traveling calls continue to pile up. This time Burton guilty of it. 10th turnover against Miami. Still 5:45 to play in the half. Pittsburgh has scored 9 points off the first 9 Miami turnovers. McCullough, nifty move through the traffic, and all of a sudden Pitt is up by 7 again.
He's got a lot of stuff when he's able to penetrate and get inside. Plays a little bigger because of the long arm.
McCullough has 11. Burton the miss. He got his own rebound and scored.
Well, he created that shot by going to the left hand and then just out-quicked everybody to the miss. And I've said it before, when you miss a shot in close, you should be the guy that has the first shot at the offensive rebound because you know which way it's going off.
McCullough. Credit Antigua for keeping that play alive as he followed the miss by Rhymes.
We told you at the outset he was an outstanding small player. He has certainly shown you some of his trickery early.
Gardner dumped it off for Burton. He was fouled and will go to the line with a chance for 3. Orlando Antigua called for the foul. Great news for hockey fans. Wayne Gretzky returns to action tonight for the Los Angeles Kings, and ESPN will have him on your television set Friday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time as the Kings travel to Winnipeg to take on the Jets. The Kings certainly welcome the return of the great one. They are in a 1-7-3 slump. It's Friday night, ESPN's National Hockey Night at 8:30 Eastern Time. Gretzky and the Kings against Winnipeg. Antigua. Ward batted it away from Chris Gant, number 40, who has checked in for Pitt. Panthers by 5, 4:10 to play in the half. Jake Morton moves around Rhymes. Here is Rhymes to Gant. Followed by Antigua, the sophomore. Drops in a 2-point field goal. He's from the Bronx, out of St. Raymond's High School.
That's one of the fringe benefits of playing a fast-paced game. You don't get the initial thrust to go down all the time, but because you've beaten the defense back, you have lanes available to the offensive glass, and you also have the opportunity to wear down a team that doesn't have depth if you stay locked into the mentality of pushing the ball at every opportunity.
Gardner got McCullough in the air and scored. Michael Gardner only averages 9 points per game. He's exceeded that average with 10 points here in the first half.
His play has really improved simply by virtue of getting a lot of time last year. He's much more comfortable and steady as a point guard.
Pitt by 5 with 3:13 to play in the first half here in Pittsburgh.
I'll be right with you.
Unleaded, please.
Why will rock and roll never die? Try a beer that drinks like a light with real draft taste. Bud Dry. Because while legends may come and go, true refreshment is here to stay.
6 months ago, my dentist says to me, Mike, you got a tartar problem. Get Tartar Control Crest. But doctor, I said, I thought toothpaste is toothpaste. He sticks that pick in my mouth. He says, think again.
You'll have significantly less tartar at your next visit if you use Crest's unique tartar fighting formula for 6 months. We're so sure, we'll give you a money-back guarantee.
So I started using Crest every day. And you were looking at a happy guy. A very happy guy.
Tartar Control Crest. Less tartar in 6 months guaranteed.
This is Federal Express. This is Konica. Why you use Federal Express? Why Federal Express uses Konica. So if you know this company, you should know this company. Because Konica delivers for Federal Express. Everybody knows U.S. Air. Not everybody knows Konica. Why you get on board with U.S. Air? Why U.S. Air is on board with Konica. So if you know this company, you should know this company. Because Konica has earned its wings from U.S. Air.
The Hurricanes hanging tough, down 5, in large part due to the play of Jerry McCullough for the Panthers. Nice shifty crossover dribble to the cup. Nicely done. And check this one out. Talk about manufacturing shots. The little fella using all of that extra sleeve length to get it up and down with the left hand.
And what a difference a season makes for Jerry McCullough now that Sean Miller has graduated after being the starting point guard for 4 years for Pittsburgh. Jerry McCullough taking advantage of the opportunity to play a large number of minutes and then some. Steve Edwards was hot early, quiet lately, but he's back on track with a three-pointer.
How about the Canes? Despite 10 turnovers, which means they've gotten probably close to 10 or 12 less field goal attempts than the Panthers, and they're right here down only 2.
From the corner, a 2-point field goal knocked in by Brock Generalovic. A seldomly used walk-on his first 3 years on campus, but like Brian Brush, another walk-on, Generalovic getting a chance to play regularly as a senior. Morton was decked as he fired the 3. Had that got in, he would have gone to the line. A chance for a 4-point play.
Hey, you talk about Generalovic. He's played in 7 of the 9 games coming in, making 8 of 10 now with his time on the floor.
He scored 10 points this year, actually 12 with his 2 points tonight, and that's 12 points to this point this year, more than he had in his first 3 years combined. Jake Morton will have 3 free throws.
Just a matter of time with that man right there, Leonard Hamilton. He'll have a program competing for the upper division. Talked a little bit about how it's so hard to create environment because the program had been dormant for so long. There's no history. I mean, there's no track record that he can relate to his players. They've kind of got to be the pioneers to reestablish and create that environment and atmosphere that is big-time basketball in the Big East. While challenging, it certainly is also exciting to have that opportunity to lay the road for future Miami Hurricane teams.
Morton back to the bench after making 2 of the 3 free throws. Pitt by 2 as we approach 2 minutes remaining in the half.
Miami for the first time showing a little matchup zone. You don't want it in the middle.
Gant after the Antigua miss. Now McNeil was fouled. Leonard Hamilton wanted a walking call, and I think he's right.
Certainly on top of that one. Give him a whistle and a striped shirt because he had that one on target. But because of the bodies, hard to keep track of the feet of McNeil. There's Antigua in the middle with the short pull-up, no go. And then the fight for the board, and Gant just blocked by the base of the backboard, and there's McNeil on the backwards moonwalk.
Seemed to shuffle his feet as he ripped the ball away.
Well, he's got a nice looking stroke and touch for a big guy. Already with 10 caroms. That's major league glass eating for one stanza.
He's now 3 of 4 from the line. That was his first miss. Hit by 3. Under 2 minutes to play in the first half. Pat Lawrence kicked it out from the traffic to Gardner, and his 3 missed. Lawrence pushed Antigua away, and that did not go undetected by Jody Sylvester.
You have to use your hands inside to rebound. Obviously, you don't want to get caught, and the best way not to get caught is to keep your hands below the offensive player's waist. That way, the official doesn't have as much of an opportunity to see those little nudges.
Sounds like you're speaking from experience.
Just a bit.
And at halftime, we will experience the Delta Faucet Report. Jim Valvano's hard-to-guard players featuring Albert Cheney of Indiana, plus scores and highlights on a busy night in college basketball tonight. This is just the beginning for us on ESPN. Florida State and Virginia coming your way following this one.
Boy, they've got a pretty tough player to guard in Bobby Sura. Sam Cassell and Doug Edwards in the game. Junior Burrow. Corey Alexander. I might be watching that one after this.
Orlando Antigua, needless to say, a couple of folks in the lane a little bit early.
Foot violation, foot fault on Antigua. You don't see that often in tennis or basketball.
No. He was accompanied into the lane by Pat Lawrence, but the whistle went against Antigua.
Well, Canes have to feel good. You know, they've shot the three-pointer a lot more this year than last. Averaged 13 three-point field goal attempts last year compared to 18 this year. And that's one of the reasons they've stayed close despite the turnover.
Pass by Edwards off to Hammy Ward for the bucket. And a whistle. After the slam dunk, Sam Croft over to the scores table to tell the courtside officials to change the possession arrow. That's the reason for the whistle.
What he loves to do most, pass the ball, penetration, draw three shirts, leave it for Hammy Ward. Flush it.
And he did.
All of a sudden, it's a two-point game as we approach a minute remaining in the half. Generalovic is open momentarily. McCullough is open for a while. Whistle on the rebound action. It's going against Chris McNeil as he got tangled with Hammy Ward.
Well, that possession, the zone defense, rattled the Panthers a bit. They weren't very active. Got a tough shot from McCullough, and then on the weak side, McNeil pushing to try to get to the offensive board. And the Canes have an opportunity with 2 free throws to knot it up.
First foul on McNeil. Hammy Ward, the senior from Houston, Texas, at the line. And he makes the front end of the 1-and-1. 17 fouls against each team. And if Ward can knock this one in, we'll have a tie game.
Hammy Ward married and with a 8-month-old little son he thinks might be 7 feet tall. He said the little fella is eating and growing by the day.
His son is Adam, born last April. McNeil fouled as he put it up. Miami has battled back from an 8-point deficit. That was the largest disadvantage Miami faced. Get within 1. Steve Edwards was just whistled for a foul for Coach Hamilton. 2 fouls on Edwards. Here's Jake Morton. Back in to get Edwards to the bench and make sure he doesn't pick up his third in the 50 seconds remaining till the half. Now 4 of 5 from the line. It was a preseason second team all Big East selection.
Excuse me. Toured France this summer with the NIT All-Stars and really benefited from the experience. It impressed upon him the need to get stronger. Played some of the national teams over there and got banged around pretty good and has dedicated himself to spending more time in the weight room this year.
That's the game clock that you see. There's about a 4-second difference. Miami can't take it all the way down to halftime. They need a 2-point field goal to tie. A 3 would give them the lead.
But if they do take it down to the limit, it's just as good as taking it down to the end because the clock doesn't stop on made field goal.
4 seconds on the shot clock. Morton had it deflected by Antigua. 4 seconds for Pitt to get a shot up. McCullough had more time than that. And that's the end of the half.
Your program, pages 33 or 66.
The Pitt Panthers head to the locker room with a 2-point lead at halftime. Pittsburgh 40 and Miami 38. Let's send you back to our studios now for the Delta Faucet halftime report. Here's John Saunders.
All right, Sean and Clark, thanks a lot. Pitt's lead is just 2. Pitt with a loss to Georgetown, Miami with a win against Georgetown. Maybe Jim Valvano is right. When we come back, we will find out because it's Wednesday. Therefore, it must be hard to guard day. That and more when we return in just a moment.
ESPN's NCAA basketball is brought to you by the new Dodge, a division of the Chrysler Corporation.
This week, Russ Beeler's in-laws came to Lake Edna, and how better to feed a group like this than the KFC Super Value Buckets. 15 pieces of the Colonel's original recipe, just $9.99, and super-sized buckets of zesty hot wing pieces, also $9.99. Super Value Buckets are here for a limited time.
And thankfully, so are my in-laws.
The KFC Super Value Buckets.
We are KFC. We do chicken right.
It has a 10-cylinder, 400-horsepower engine and seats up to 7.
It hits over 1G on a skid pad and has an available built-in child seat. Its front fenders resist dents and chips. It has 133 sound deadeners, silencers, baffles, and mufflers. And there's room in back for 49 bags of groceries. Caravan, Viper, and Intrepid. The new Dodge.
6 months ago, I'm at the dentist, not feeling overly anxious when I heard that unforgettable word, cavities. Doctor, I said, is there any hope?
Mandy, he said, you gotta brush twice a day the right way.
If your child brushes every day for 6 months with Crest, the dentist's choice, their next checkup will be great. And we're so sure you'll be satisfied, we'll give you a money-back guarantee.
So I brushed with Crest, and I'm sitting pretty.
Crest, great checkups in 6 months, guaranteed.
Ain't life grand?
Welcome back now to the Delta Faucet halftime report. Let's continue with a look at scores and highlights before we get you back to the second half. First, the #1 team in the nation coming off the scare against Oklahoma that went to overtime on Monday here on ESPN. They lead Clemson. Clemson is 9-0 coming into the game, but really they have not played anyone on their schedule. They're down by 8. South Carolina facing Tennessee, this in the SEC. 1-point game with just about 10 minutes to go in the first half. George Washington facing James Madison tonight as Lefty Driesell tries to climb even further up the coaching list here. Kent Kaluko is blocked by Yinka Dare, the freshman from Nigeria, who will be a big factor. Breaking the press, though, Kaluko says you can't block it out here, knocks down the three-pointer, and James Madison at home has the early 4-point lead. It's 12-8 right now, and GW off to their best start since 1953-54 at 9-1 coming in. Duquesne facing West Virginia. Used to go at it in the Atlantic 10. Duquesne left. It's 12-12 right now with 12 minutes left. 12's all around. Notre Dame facing Detroit Mercy and losing by 8 with 11 minutes to go in the first half of this one, despite leading the all-time series big. Now, Jim, that was a first half between Miami and Pitt that a lot of coaches aren't always happy with what they see. It might be one of those cases this time.
Yeah, we oftentimes only show all the good stuff. Clark Kellogg said it well. Miami's very fortunate to be down by only 2 with the 10 turnovers, but also with their defensive effort. I don't think that coach is going to be happy with this. Here's the play. They call it. Now watch this. What we're going to see is just a simple screen. Now you're going to have to watch the defender. The man's going to drive the screen. You got to watch Gardner, right, who's going to try to help. That's the triangle. And Hammy Ward's down right there. Now the guy getting over the pick right there, Morton, he's supposed to slide over the top or slide in between. Gardner's supposed to help, get in the lane. And Ward, you're supposed to what we call hedge. Get close to the ball. Does anybody do all that? Nah. The guy just, boom, Brines picks it up, knocks it down. You know, and I'm telling you, coach is going to, Leonard Hamilton halftime is going to be going crazy. But they're only down 2 despite that kind of defensive effort. They got to pick it up in the second half.
Yeah, that's the good news. It's only a 2-point game. And speaking of 2, game number 2 of our doubleheader comes your way at 9 o'clock Eastern time. Number 23, Florida State. Charlie Ward is back to run the offense, moving over from quarterback for the Seminoles. He just played in the Orange Bowl against number 25, Virginia. Then on Thursday, a triple header, including Jim and I, will be at Cincinnati and UMass.
This halftime report is presented by the Delta Faucet Company. Delta, the way water is brought to life.
Good morning, America!
Good morning.
Good morning.
Wake up, you sleepyhead. Good morning to you and you and you. Get up, get out of bed.
Every morning all across America, over 50 million people come to life with Delta faucets.
Live, love, laugh, and be happy. Good morning, good morning.
Delta, the way water is brought to life.
2 thumbs up for Scent of a Woman. Roger Ebert calls it an amazing film.
I'm in the amazing business.
Pacino roars through this story with show-stopping intensity.
I'm just getting warmed up.
Scent of a Woman, rated R. Now in select areas. Starts Friday everywhere.
A kiss? No, I'm sorry. I don't think so.
Oh, no, please, no, baby, no.
Oh, not a good idea. Not now.
No, bad time.
Fight morning breath with Scope. Scope has 2 powerful ingredients that kill 90% of the bacteria that cause morning breath.
Your kiss is ready. Pucker up.
Right on the kisser.
Come on.
Kiss morning breath goodbye with Scope.
Give me that kiss.
Domino's presents Something for Nothing. Now you get free Domino's Twisty Bread and our free salad when you order any large pizza with one or more toppings.
Something for nothing. Really something when you call Domino's.
We make tacos, we make nachos. Everything's cheap and nothing's pricey. We make burritos, we make tamales. And they're really hot and spicy.
Ready to eat cheap? With Mi Cucaracha's big deal, you get 2 tacos, 2 tamales, and 2 burritos for only 29 cents.
Everything's cheap and nothing's pricey. We make burritos.
Still going. Nothing outlasts the Energizer battery. It keeps going and going.
Welcome back once again, everyone, to the Delta Faucet Halftime Report. John Saunders along with Jim Valvano. Jim, we are establishing this. This is our first week now of the regular season. On Monday, we have the Dick Fick Award, right?
Wonderful.
Is that right?
Got a lot of calls.
Tuesday is Teaching Tuesday.
Teaching Tuesday. A lot of calls. It's
and
great.
Wednesday, Hard to Guard?
Hard to Guard because in 1983, Guy Lewis at the NCAA dinner on Sunday before the championship game, a reporter asked about his career. He said when he first started coaching, the football coach was the AD, and he called him in. He was a young coach. He said, "Coach, I don't know much about basketball." He said, "But I think what you should do is recruit players that are hard to guard." And he said he's been doing it for 30 years. And that's what we're going to show you. Players who are difficult to defend. They make coaching a lot more fun. This is Calbert Chaney from Indiana. He uses, here's an up screen roll. There's Calbert. Now what you're going to see him do, right, is he gets involved in the offense by setting right here an up screen. See, he comes up. It's called a back pick, too. Up screen, and then the screener is often the most wide open guy. So he screens, rolls to the basket, keeps the ball up high, and he knows what to do with it. All right, that's the first. There he is. Now screen the screener. You hear coaches talk about that. He sets the screen. Now he uses the screen. All right, you got to watch the guy who sets the screen so often. Now he comes up again. Man goes behind. He can put it on the floor, and he knows what to do with it again. Screen and curl. He does this probably as well as anybody in basketball. All right, there was Calvert. Now here comes, he calls the screener. See, he comes around. See, the defender's already trailing. He's late. He curls around the screen. He catches, look at him go right up. Oh, is that beautiful. And then the most simple, the down screen. And you're going to see again Chaney be able to get himself free. There he is. He's coming around. Here comes the down screen. Damon Bailey. Look at that pick. Oh, is that beautiful? Look at the space that he has. And we didn't show you why he's so hard to guard. Is when he gets it, he can just square up and bam, he knocks it down. I'd hate to have to guard. You on your skates would have trouble guarding Chaney. He's hard to guard all
And
day.
every week we'll look at a different play. 83, Guy Lewis, you figured out how to guard Houston that game, I think. Someone told me that. All right, we'll be back with more in just a moment as we continue here on the Jam Session. Constantine Popa, no match for Eric Mobley here, but it's just a 2-point game.
Thanks to our home equity loan from Statewide Capital, we lowered our monthly expenses by consolidating our bills.
1-800-DIAL-CASH.
Thanks to our home equity loan from Statewide Capital, we were able to open our own business.
1-800-DIAL-CASH.
1-800-DIAL-CASH. For years, homeowners have been calling us for fast, simple home equity loans. I'm John Green for Statewide Capital. We make borrowing money easy, even if you've been turned down by the bank or have past credit problems. So remember, Statewide Capital lends money fast. Call 1-800-DIAL-CASH.
Precision Tune. You can't get better care. No dealer, no station, not even you can maintain your car better than Long Island Precision Tune Centers. Anywhere. No one takes better care of you and your car at any price.
Right now, get your oil change for only $14.90 at any Precision Tune Center.
Precision Tune. 9 convenient locations throughout Nassau and South. You can't get better care. For the center nearest you, call 800-479-TUNE.
Welcome back to the second half in just a moment. First, some news from the National Football League. NFL players and owners have reached an agreement on a new collective bargaining agreement, their first since 1987. As a result, the draft will be reduced from 12 to 7 rounds, and players will be free agents after 5 years. SportsCenter will have full details. Now, tonight we continue our look at high school seniors from around the country. And tonight, the last great big man in this year's class, Rasheed Wallace of number 1 Simon Gratz out of Philadelphia.
He's 6'11" and 260 pounds, but Nolan Richardson enjoys Darnell Robinson for something more than his size.
The thing that I like about the Tank, that's what they call him, is the fact that he runs the floor.
All right, we will take a further look at that sometime later, but right now, let's get to break. Back with the second half in just a moment. First, to look at some more scores.
Everybody used to come in and say, you know, the R in your sign is backwards. Kids play with the same toys everywhere. People in Japan are no different than the people in the United States, no different than the people in Canada. They want things for their children, and the lower the price, the more they'll buy. I buy the majority of my purchases with the American Express card. It's simpler for me, period.
American Express is welcome to Toys R Us and other fun spots.
Hi, Mary. We're running right on schedule for one. So confirm our 3 o'clock with Emerson, our 4 o'clock with Moore, and our 5 o'clock with Sherman. Whoa, Mary, we just hit one heck of a traffic jam. Better postpone our 3 o'clock till 4 o'clock, our 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and our 5 o'clock till tomorrow.
Introducing the new Steak Lovers Pizza from Pizza Hut. Special sauce, delicious steak, onions, and 3 kinds of cheese.
We shouldn't be doing this. Hey, guys, sometimes you gotta stop and smell the pizza.
Why is the Sabre the best-selling full-size sedan in America? It's simple. Because it's built like a Buick. And Buick has become an enormous symbol for quality in America.
Today, a woman needs a life insurance plan of her own.
State Farm sells life insurance from an agent who's there for you today and there tomorrow, too. You see, we start you out right with a plan specifically designed for a woman's needs, one that protects the people who count on you for so very much. And the State Farm agent will be there tomorrow, too, as your life changes, to keep that plan working for the people you love.
State Farm sells life insurance.
ESPN's NCAA basketball is brought to you by Buick and your local Buick dealers. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. And by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
We hope to get back to Rasheed Wallace from Simon Gratz some other time, but right now let's update some scores. George Washington facing James Madison. We talked about the freshman from Nigeria, Yinka Dare. We showed you him on defense. Here he is on offense. Turns around, hits the jumper, and he is fouled in this one. James Madison, though, has the lead by 4. Just under 6 minutes to go in the first half. Right now, let's take it back out to Sean and Clark.
Thank you, John. Here in Pittsburgh, we had 9 lead changes in the first 4 minutes. Then Pitt led the rest of the way in the first half by as many as 8, but the lead is down to 2. It wasn't always a cleanly played first half, Clark, but there were some exciting moments.
Very much so. Well, other than the turnovers, it was an entertaining game because it was an up-tempo game, which is the way the Panthers want to play.
And when the Panthers play it with an up-tempo style, usually they are led by Jerry McCullough. And the first half tonight was no exception as he had 13 points.
The 3P move. Pause him, park him, and then put him away at the hoop. Sweet drive by Jerry McCullough.
And at the other end, Steve Edwards had 9 points and 4 assists for Miami.
Do you want to take him? No, leave it for Hammy Ward, who knows what to do with it inside. Edwards had 9 points and 4 assists, as you said.
Both teams cold from the free throw line, and you made the point as we were looking over the halftime stats. That's not a lot of free throws by Pitt standards.
No, and Pitt comes in plus 112 free throw attempts, which is an average of about 12 more per game. I would expect them to really look to throw the ball inside and try to win the free throw game by a decided margin in the second half.
Surprisingly, Michael Gardner was the leading scorer for Miami in the first half with 10. He came in averaging 9 points per game. Steve Edwards with 9 rather, and Trevor Burton with 8. Jerry McCullough led all scorers with 13. Chris McNeil 8. Marlon Rhymes 7. And McCullough and the Panthers are ready to go in the second half, and we'll see again if the lack of depth is a problem for Miami. Although Pitt really didn't do a very good job of keeping the pace up tempo throughout the half. It came in spurts.
That's an excellent point. One of the things you want to do when you're a running team is take advantage of the cumulative effect of continuing to run. The Panthers again were spotty in their running. There you take a look at Steve Edwards, who had an outstanding first half, 9 points, 3 steals, in addition to 4 assists. And I'm impressed with his moxie and the way he's relaxed out there on the floor. Loves to give the ball up.
Capacity crowd here at the Fitzgerald Fieldhouse, and they were excited at halftime when it was announced for the second straight year that the Pittsburgh cheerleaders just won the National College Cheerleaders Championship down in Dallas. So congratulations to the Pitt Panther cheerleaders, and congratulations to Jerry McCullough, who is stepping in for one of the all-time greats here at Pitt, and Sean Miller, and really comparing very nicely.
Very much so. Confident in that he knows he's going to get a lot of minutes every single game, so he can play through his mistakes a little better, not worrying about being pulled out. There you see his impressive numbers, and again, he ranks amongst the league leaders in steals in the Big East. So he's stuffing the stat sheet, as we say, from the point guard position.
And because he can lead the break, the Panthers are running much more often than they have at any time during Paul Evans' 7-year tenure.
Let's see if the Panthers look to try to throw it down inside right away.
They do, and Mobley fired up an air ball altered by Popa. Then Pat Lawrence had a block along the end line. 2 would tie it for Miami. They haven't been even since the 4-minute mark. The 3 would give them the lead, and it spun out from Edwards. Pat Lawrence too strong on the follow, and Popa tipped it in. They're waving it off. Basket interference, the call against Popa. Looked from here like it was a good call.
Sometimes you must laugh to keep from crying. Take a look. Seemed like it got off and under the rack.
I think so. Leonard Hamilton was looking over at us to see if we concurred with the officials after we saw the replay. It's really a big call. Sure. They had tied the game with the tip-in, a momentum turn perhaps in favor of Miami, but they have the momentary downturn, and it's answered at the other end by the bucket by Mobley. Now they say this one went out off Antoine Jones.
Good call there. Valentine right on top of it. You're right. We'll have to see how that unfolds here in the next couple of possessions.
We've played 1 minute in the second half. Pitt leads by 4. They scored the only points of the second half.
There hasn't been much in the way of inside shots for the Hurricanes, so they've got to rely on the mid-range to long-range jump shot.
They shot well as a team from the floor in the first half, 52%. Rhymes missed a 3. The long rebound to Jones. Again, Popa might have altered the shot.
May have gotten a piece.
Gardner tried to whip it into Popa and was batted out of bounds.
That's what you call going for a winner. Kind of like in tennis when you try to return a winner right after the serve. Well, sometimes you need to move the defense just a bit before you try to make a home run pass. As a matter of fact, if you move the defense, sometimes the passing angles become better and the pass is much easier.
Gardner with some confidence after his excellent first half. Missed the long 3, but turns it into 2.
Nice move. He froze the defender and then snuck inside.
And the steal at the other end by Edwards as he took it away from Rhymes. Again, 2 would tie it for Miami. 3 would put the Hurricanes up by a point. 2 minutes into the second half.
The Hurricanes 15-point underdogs coming into this, which was far too many considering how well they've played, even in losses to Seton Hall. You talked about them having that 17-point lead, led just about the whole game at Georgia, and coming off the nice win against Georgetown.
Derek Thomas, a freshman from Houston, Texas, in for the first time for Pittsburgh. Both teams 1 for 5 from the floor in the first 2 minutes plus here in the second half. For the lead, Steve Edwards knocks in a three, and Miami leads by a point with 17 and a half to play. Jones. And the whistle for the foul. It was against Copa. And that will be his third. You talk about the season that Miami has had and the reason that they're 15-point underdogs coming into the game tonight. The win against Georgetown was impressive, but their other two wins were against Barry. We don't know who he is, and Florida Atlantic. Barry is a good program, but those are not Division I schools. And you can see the 6 losses, some of them tough losses. The 2-point loss at Georgia, they led all but the last 35 seconds of that game.
And then had a 17-point lead against Seton Hall at the Meadowlands. So they're showing progress, and this is another step in that long journey. Again, Leonard Hamilton talked to us and his team about Pittsburgh remembering last year's loss in the tournament, and also recognizing that the Canes are coming off a big win, would come at Miami from a different perspective and a lot harder. And so far, Miami has been impressive in meeting the challenge.
It's little things like what just happened that hurt the young up-and-coming team. They had the 2 misses by Pitt from the free throw line, but lost the ball out of bounds as Brush knocked it out off Lawrence.
Panthers need to be a little more active, going with a rather small unit. Nice look.
Jones behind the back, and Brush, a nice altered shot to avoid 7'3" Constantine Hopa.
The heat is always on the receiver of a good pass to complete the play, and Brush came through fine there.
Burton followed his own miss, and then he traveled.
Leonard Hamilton wondering why the closer official did not call the walk.
I think he had a gripe on that one, too. .35 to play, second half, Pitt by 1.
Miami going to a zone. They've shown mostly man-to-man in this game. They've had a few possessions where they've gone to the zone, and in the first half, it bothered the Panthers a little bit.
That's a 3 for Garrett Thomas, the freshman from Houston, a McDonald's All-American last year at MacArthur High School. Panthers by 4, 16-10 to play. That's a 3-point try off the rim from Edwards. Hopa. He is ambidextrous, was left-handed as a young boy. His parents switched him to right-handed. Now he can work on the basketball floor with either hand. And a foul at the other end. And it's against Michael Gardner. His first. We'll be back in just a moment.
I'm a real wild one, wild one.
When it comes to clean, fresh taste that won't fill you up and never let you down.
Stop! Southport!
Bud Light delivers.
You may not have given side impact collisions much consideration, but Buick has. You may not know that by the year 1997, all cars will be required to meet the U.S. government's side impact safety standard, or that the Buick Regal sedan meets this standard today, 4 years in advance. But it is important information, and we think it's definitely food for thought.
Alka-Seltzer Plus Nighttime. For relief without alcohol. Hit the box, not the bottle.
Red Lobster is perfect for lunch. Now with our $4.99 special. Golden fried shrimp and grilled chicken breast. Plus potato and salad, just $4.99.
So hurry.
To Red Lobster for lunch every day. Sunday, too.
I think
Iowa and Indiana, number 8 against number 5. Kenyon Murray on the break takes it in, but misses the layup. But the follow by Wade Lookinbill, and Iowa has jumped out to a 6-point lead. Back to you.
Thank you, John. Welcome back, everybody, to sold-out Fitzgerald Fieldhouse. They've crammed about 6,700 into this elderly building.
Venerable.
Yes. And the students are back in session here at Pitt. So it is a raucous student section across the way. Garrick Thomas with a miss. Miami with the ball, down by 4, and a foul as Edwards tried to work on Garrick Thomas. Thomas is an excellent athlete. He won the slam dunk contest at the Dapper Dan Round Ball Classic last spring. The all-time leading scorer at MacArthur High School in suburban Houston. And the inbound pass deflected by Brian Brush. .15:43 to play here in Pittsburgh. The Panthers lead 47-43. Lawrence, Pope for the follow. That time they don't wave it off. And that's the first field goal of the night, first points of the night for Konstantin Popa. McCullough short from 3. Thomas battling for it, lost it. And the whistle sounds. The ball wound up in the hands of Edwards, but they call Michael Gardner for his second foul.
Foul on Michael Gardner.
Here we take a look. Steve Edwards almost had his shorts pulled down by Garrick Thomas. Inadvertently, I might add. Just the hand got caught on the short.
McCullough baseline traffic into the trees, and Lawrence wound up with it.
One of the dangers with a scoring point guard is that he's got the ball and sometimes looks for his own a little more.
He has his own after this trip. And 2 more for Jerry McCullough. He has 15. Those are his first points of the second half. And Pitt's back up by 4. Edwards for 3. Lawrence went sneaking in and had the angle with the rebound. Brush wound up with it. And Pat Lawrence is called for the foul.
Good hustle there by Pat Lawrence. He came from the top of the circle to make a play on the offensive rebound and commits the foul in an effort to get after the loose ball. There you see a key stat. The Panthers taking full advantage of the Hurricane turnovers here tonight.
And it isn't that Pittsburgh has protected the ball particularly well. Miami just hasn't capitalized. Pope is on the bench. Jake Morton is back in for Miami.
Well, the zone defense allows the Panthers, actually allows the Hurricanes to not get rest, but it's not as taxing as man-to-man, and also they can possibly do a better job of keeping the ball out of the paint, although that really hasn't been a factor in the ball game.
We played nearly 6 minutes in the second half, and Pittsburgh leads by 4. Gardner open for 3. Now for 2. Rattled in and out, and McCullough snuck in at 5'10" to steal the rebound.
Well, he gets 4 caroms a game. He does it all from the point guard spot. Can penetrate and dish.
And lob it into Jones, and he was bumped on the floor. Hammy Ward called for the foul. That's his third.
Miami now with 5 team fouls, so we talked about the Panthers looking to exercise their advantage on the free throw line, and they might be able to get to the penalty here rather early in this half.
Anthony Lawrence is back in for his brother Pat.
Miami electing pretty much stay in the zone here in the second half.
Thomas banks it in.
He hadn't played much in the prior 9 ball games at the same time in 7. Had only averaged about 8 minutes a game, but has given the Panthers a little spark here in replacing Marlon Rhymes.
He has scored 5 points off the bench as Garrick Thomas. He came in averaging 3 a game.
One of the advantages of having some depth.
Burton was shut off nicely by Jones. Morton for three. Yes.
Inside out. Throw it inside, force the defenders to collapse, and then kick it out to a good open shooter, and Morton makes the Panthers pay.
Got the lead in half from 6 down to 3. 12:40 to play here in Pittsburgh.
Pace has slowed significantly here in the second half.
That has quieted the sellout crowd. Thomas the miss. Mobley. What a pass off to Antoine Jones for the 2.
You don't see guards make passes like that. Mobley is 6'10 plus and north of 240.
Whoa. Awkward shot, but it went in for Trevor Burton, and it's worth 3. And the Hurricanes continue to hang tough, down by 2. Mobley tried to match his pass of a moment ago.
A little enamored with that first assist, and that's one of the complaints Paul Evans has had with Mobley. And the only one really is that sometimes he's too unselfish. When you're that big and strong and you catch it inside, they throw it in there for you to score. It's a nice benefit to be a passer, but they want you to look at the hole when you got it inside.
Trevor Burton, a great job to follow the Lawrence miss. Morton to tie, missed. McCullough came away with it. 3-on-2, Pittsburgh. Mobley credited with the bucket and then called for the foul. As he crashed into Hammy Ward.
His third personal.
Time out on the floor with the Panthers up by 4.
It's not that we're out to burst any balloons here. But the 1993 Buick Skylark comes with something as standard equipment that's optional on practically every import in Skylark's class. Anti-lock brakes. When you add up the cost of the car, that could save you almost $1,000. That could, of course, also help save you your life.
I ran into David Perry over the weekend.
I haven't thought about him since he retired.
He sure ain't living like he used to. Is that what we have to look forward to?
Actually, when I started with the company, I talked to my broker at Payne Weber. He felt that our retirement plan wouldn't be enough, so we decided I should be putting some money aside.
How do you even know about our plan?
He asked.
Get your little behinds in there.
All over the world, there's a ritual that takes place right before bedtime.
And don't forget to wash behind your ears.
And for over 35 years, one faucet has helped more kids get away with it.
And you two better be clean.
Or not. Delta, the way water is brought to life.
The second half of our Big East ACC doubleheader tonight features another member of the Edwards family, Douglas Edwards, and his teammate Bob Sura of Florida State take on undefeated but unranked Virginia. The Cavaliers at 7-0 and looking for some respect. That's coming up next with Mike Patrick and Bill Raftery. Charlie Ward is back in action as a member of the Florida State basketball team.
Look for them to make plenty of noise in the ACC conference.
Too much noise in the building for that young fan, apparently.
Not with that smile. He's loving it. Well, I'm going to speculate here a little bit. If the Hurricanes can put together a little stretch where they get to +4 or +6, it would be interesting to see how the Panthers might respond to being on that side of the scoreboard. So far, they've done just enough to stay on top with the exception of a brief time here in the second half.
For much of the game, the Hurricanes really have dictated the pace. It has not been the run-and-gun style the Panthers prefer. And a foul for an illegal screen against Hammy Ward, and that is his 4th. He's the first player in the game with 4 fouls. 6 Miami team foul, so Pitt will shoot after every Miami foul the rest of the way. Pittsburgh's only been whistled for 3 fouls here in the second half.
That bodes well simply because the Panthers will be shooting free throws, and they're a 70% free throw shooting team, and they can still maintain their aggressiveness defensively so far away from the bonus.
McCullough for three. And all of a sudden, the Panthers lead is back up to 7. The largest lead was 8 at 27-19 in the first half.
Now the flip side of that scenario I just painted is if the Panthers push it to double digits, will the fight leave the Hurricanes? Because they've been maintaining contact throughout. So what I'm saying is if we get a spurt either way, that might decide this game.
Anthony Lawrence got the bounce. Matter of fact, got several bounces, and the last one dropped in. McCullough dumped it underneath, but charged. Good work by Trevor Burton to step in and draw the offensive foul call against Jerry McCullough. His first foul. McCullough has 18 points tonight.
And he's done it in a very flashy way. He had a couple of spectacular moves in that first half, and he's knocked down, I think, 3 triples.
McCullough on the floor with Jones, Mobley, McNeil, and Thomas for Pittsburgh.
McNeil has been on the bench for a while this half. Paul Evans electing to go with a smaller unit.
Morton couldn't shed Thomas. Gardner bumped by McCullough, who played most of this game without a foul, and he's picked up 2 in a matter of seconds. The moment for Miami, it's Gardner, Morton, Burton, Copa, and Lawrence, but now Edwards checks back into the game for the Hurricanes, and Pat Lawrence is coming back in as well, replacing his brother Anthony. Pitt by 5, under 10 minutes to play. Burton was fouled.
Well, nice job there by Burton to lean in. Kind of the pro move there. Got to the baseline and then just kind of jumped into the defender in order to get himself to the line. And you know, the Panthers have primarily been a man-to-man team tonight, and you know, it might benefit the Hurricanes to look to put it on the floor and try to force some fouls and get themselves to the line. Not a very strong free throw shooting team, though.
Trevor Burton at the line, they're 58% as a team. 1 out of 2 that trip for Burton. It's a 4-point game with 9.5 minutes to play. Thomas was whistled for his second foul. That sent Burton to the line. Now he tries a 3. McNeil went over the back of Copa and then was fouled as he went back to the basket.
Foul on Steve Edwards, his 3rd personal.
Friday night, Wayne Gretzky returns to the ice. He's back in action tonight. You'll see him Friday night against Winnipeg at 8:30 Eastern Time. ESPN's National Hockey Night. The Kings welcome back the great one. They've dropped from first place in the Smythe Division to 3rd without him. We thought he might be out the whole year, at least until the playoffs, and here it is, the beginning of January, and he's back in action after the problem with the herniated disc. McNeil made 1 out of 2. Panthers by 5 as we tick down toward 9 minutes remaining. Steve Edwards was bumped by Jones. It wouldn't go in for him.
He's so smooth and slippery. I mean, he just kind of glides and doesn't look like he's moving or going anywhere, but before you know it, he's by you and at the basket. And this pace certainly favors Miami simply because they don't have the depth, and this way they can kind of grind it out.
Edwards made the first.
And the longer this team hangs around, obviously, the more confident they will feel and be.
That was the 7th team foul against Pittsburgh, so that advantage has gone by the boards for the Panthers. Both teams in the bonus, and the lead is only 3 for Pitt. Nice baseline move by Antoine Jones off the feed from the freshman Garrett Thomas.
Loves to operate along that baseline, has good quickness, and when you get along the baseline, you don't need many dribbles to get to the hole.
Rejected was Edwards by Mobley. Then Edwards lost it along the sideline.
Mobley had been bothered by somewhat of a sore back the last couple of days, but no problem here. Edwards drives in, and good defense that time by Thomas to force a tough shot by Edwards.
Good offense by Thomas as he knocked in a three-pointer. This matches the largest lead for Pitt. There will be a TV timeout on the next whistle, and Leonard Hamilton needs it.
He needs a hoop more than he does the timeout, though.
Pat Lawrence traveled. So he didn't get the hoop, but he will get the free timeout with 7:54 to play. The crowd's back into this one as the Panthers open up an 8-point lead.
Thanks to Marsh's, there's going to be a lot of lucky guys around. For example, this 42 long guy. He's going to need a 42 long suit. Lucky him, Marsh's is having a sale. Maybe someone will need another sweater. Lucky him, Marsh's is having a sale. How about a bigger blazer? You lucky guys better hurry, or your luck will run out. Marsh's is having a sale. Marsh's Men's and Boys Shop, Huntington Village.
Excitement, action, and laughs. Lethal Weapon 3 premiering this month on Cablevision's pay-per-view. Order this blockbuster hit, and you're automatically entered to win a Lethal Weapon video cassette double pack of parts 1 and 2, plus tickets to the New York Saints-Baltimore Thunder game, January 29th at the Nassau Coliseum, where the excitement of indoor lacrosse comes alive. To enter, simply order the movie or send a postcard to Cablevision, 111 Crossways Park West, Woodbury, New York, 11797. The New York Saints and pay-per-view, a winning combination. Enter now and get into the game.
Pendleton battle span. Fred Pendleton, the #1 contender for the IBF lightweight title. Tracy Spann, ranked #2 and ready to clash for the championship belt. One battles 2 for the IBF lightweight championship. Top Rank Boxing, Sunday night at 9 Eastern, live on ESPN.
Welcome back to Fitzgerald Fieldhouse on the campus of the University of Pittsburgh. Sean McDonough and Clark Kellogg, delighted to have you with us for the first half of our doubleheader tonight on ESPN. Florida State and Virginia coming up next from the ACC. Pitt has matched its largest lead with this 8-point advantage with under 8 minutes to play.
And we'll have a chance to add to it.
McCullough with the ball. He has 18 points and 9 assists tonight.
Garrett Thomas has been a big spark here in the second half for the Panthers.
25 on the shot clock. Antoine Jones nearly lost it. Kept it alive for McNeil. Way off. Mobley a hand on the rebound. And a fresh 45 on the shot clock for Pittsburgh. Jones had to go off his foot on the return feed from McNeil. Popa, a nice play to save it along the end line.
Well, that was a tough pass to handle by McNeil. I don't know of any players that can catch it with their feet.
Burton, 3.
They won't go away with it.
They won't.
Boy, he lost his man. I mean, he had all day to look at the line, look at the hoop, look at the grooves in the ball.
McNeil had it blocked by Popa. Jones had it blocked by Popa. Miami down by 5, and Gardner was fouled by McCullough. And McCullough is hobbling a bit along the end line after picking up his 3rd foul.
May have banged knees with Michael Gardner on the penetration. He seems to be walking it off nicely. McCullough went the distance in the game against Providence Saturday. He went all 40. And I don't know if he sat down tonight either. You take a look. Popa, just by virtue of his long frame, going to get one of those accidental blocks. And it leads to a transition the other way, and Gardner penetrated and drew the foul on Jerry McCullough.
And this is a 1-and-1 opportunity. And Miami's poor free throw shooting continues to hurt the Hurricanes. They're still down by 5. Now with 6.5 minutes remaining.
Well, this is where the inside dominance might be a factor as the Panthers just try to shoehorn it down inside.
Lawrence, that's Pat Lawrence, stripped McNeil. Edwards, an open 3. Antigua and Popa, and it's Popa at 7'3". Edwards dumped it off to Lawrence, kicked out of bounds. It will be Miami ball with 6:03 remaining.
Lawrence didn't chase the ball. He didn't chase his teammate. Otherwise, he might have had a layup. That pass by Edwards was where Lawrence should have been.
Steve Edwards goes to the bench for a brief breather as Jake Morton checks in for Miami. Ooh, dangerous pass, Gardner.
Gardner has tremendous hops. Got about a 38-inch vertical and used all of it to save that one.
That's off the foot of Gardner, the pass from Morton. 17 turnovers now by Miami. You mentioned the 38-inch vertical leap of Gardner. That's the second best vertical leap recorded in Miami basketball history. Dennis Burns, 39 inches, the best.
Impressive research by my partner here.
McCullough. He's up to 20, and the lead is back to 7 for the Panthers.
McCullough is as steady as flowing water. I mean, his demeanor never changes, nor does his game. Rock solid.
Whoa, Antigua surprised Lawrence, but Popa got it back. And Valentine with the whistle. And they reset the shot clock inadvertently. Work by the officials to catch that. They're going to tick the clock down to 24 seconds. Here's our Buick storyline from Fitzgerald Fieldhouse. Miami staying in the game largely by virtue of their success from beyond the three-point line. They've been led by their leading scorer, Steve Edwards, the freshman, with 14 points and 4 assists. And Pittsburgh, a decided edge in points off turnovers. And the turnover creator is Jerry McCullough with 20 points and 9 assists. Leonard Hamilton called him a one-man press.
Yeah, he certainly is that.
Thomas a bit too frisky as Edwards tried to drive away. 3 fouls on the freshman Thomas. And Paul Evans sends Marlon Rimes back in to take Thomas out. But you see the coach applauding. And as Clark mentioned, Thomas has indeed given the Panthers a nice performance off the pine.
And that's what you need from your bench guys. A couple of factors make good bench players. One, they have to have some versatility and the ability to change the game for you. And then secondly, you need some of your bench guys to be able to give you instant offense, to provide some offensive punch for you. And certainly Garrick Thomas has done that. Rimes was struggling a bit. Evans goes to Thomas and gets big points from him.
See, the Miami players are wearing a patch. That's in memory of Jake Litzenberger, the father of Miami basketball assistant coach Fred Litzenberger, who passed away this weekend in Colorado. Coach Litzenberger is not with the team tonight as he attends his father's funeral, and our condolences certainly go out to the Litzenberger family. At the other end, Eric Mobley called for the foul, and that's his 4th. Ten team fouls now on Pittsburgh, so Miami will shoot 2 on every Panther foul the rest of the way.
Boy, that flip-flopped in a hurry, didn't it?
At one time it was 17 fouls against Miami and 3 against Pitt, so it's been 7 in a row against the Panthers.
Unique stroke.
The shot point from the pride of Bucharest, Romania, Constantine Popa.
And you take a look at the free throw situation. Pittsburgh has actually made more than their opposition has shot so far this season.
Lane violation called against Marlon Rimes of Pittsburgh, so Popa has another chance. With Miami down by 4 and 4:57 to be played.
And that graphic actually showed the comparison between these two teams, and that stands true what I just said. Pittsburgh has made more free throws than their opposition, including the Miami Hurricane on the season.
Mobley. Rimes for 3. Mobley over the back of Popa. Pittsburgh ball. Leonard Hamilton wanted the over-the-back call. It is not forthcoming. He's managing to smile about it.
He knew it was
That's
a reach anyway.
Smile. Miami on a 7-2 run. Mobley makes it 7-4 with the exclamation point.
Well, Popa went over to challenge the shot by McCullough. Nobody stepped down to get between Mobley and the goal, and he finished on the weak side.
And a nickel and dimer, as Bill Raftery might say, as he's warming up for the upcoming Florida State-Virginia game, whistled against Chris McNeil.
Take a look at this hoop by Mobley. Look at Popa come over, and that leaves Mobley loose on the weak side. See, Popa came over to help. Nobody stepped down. Nobody rotated down to block out Mobley, and he finished and did what you're supposed to do. Get to the offensive glass when the shot goes up on the side away from you.
When we talk about Miami being a poor free throw shooting team, and Pat Lawrence is the poster child. Came into the game 6 for 31 from the line. That's 19%.
Yeah, that's a heck of a return on your money in today's market, but certainly not the way you want to shoot your free throw.
No. And here's Miami still down only by 4 in the game with 4 minutes to go. Mobley powers in for the jam. And the foul whistled against Popa. Popa gave a shrug to Antigua that went uncalled.
Well, all throughout the shoot-around, they worked on taking away the baseline from post players. You see, Popa never gets there, never gets to the baseline, and he's given up 45 to 50 pounds, and Mobley used all of that advantage to get himself to the rack.
And he drew the 4th foul from Popa. Mobley. Much better shape this year. And that has paid off for him. The 3-point play by Mobley has given Pittsburgh a 7-point lead with 3:57 remaining.
Want to break a European's heart? Let him test drive a Buick Park Avenue Ultra for 2 weeks, then take it away. You see, the Ultra, with its supercharged engine, luxury appointments, and Buick quality, is built in such limited quantities, it's just not available in Europe yet. Want to break a European's heart? Let him drive an Ultra, then take it away.
Good morning, America!
Good morning.
Good morning.
Wake up, you sleepyhead. Good morning to you and you and you.
Get up, get out of bed.
Every morning all across America, over 50 million people come to life with Delta faucets.
Live, love, laugh, and be happy.
Good morning, good morning.
Delta, the way water is brought to life.
Where to find the Mountain Man. A mountain man can often be found on the trail of adventure, in search of remote watering holes, or weathering harsh climates. Most often, however, you'll find the mountain man wherever you find smooth bush beer or easy drinking bush light. So, head for the mountains and find yourself in the wide, open world of the mountain man.
Pittsburgh by 7 on its home floor with 3:57 remaining. Sean McDonough and Clark Kellogg, happy to have you with us. Florida State and Virginia are in the on-deck circle. We'll send you to Charlottesville for that game as soon as this one is over. Offensive rebounds really starting to pile up for Pitt.
Well, Mobley has stepped it up this half. He scored, 9 of his 11 this half.
Including his last 4 shots. They've all gone in, and that's right over to us. Not where Steve Edwards intended it to go. He split the wickets of Pat Lawrence.
With Mobley having the success he's had, I would think you try to get it back inside to him.
Good play by Burton. He came away with the steal as Pitt had a chance with a score to earn its largest lead. They're up by 7. Their largest lead 8. Wide open 3. Edwards missed it. Foul against Miami on the rebound action. It's against Hammy Ward.
Well, they've had some tough calls go against them. The numerous walking violations and then quite a few underneath fouls.
And Leonard Hamilton has been wearing the look of chagrin most of the night. Hammy Ward has just fouled out. Lawrence Moten and the Syracuse Orangemen 0-3 in the Big East out of the gate. They'll try to get back on track against the 7th-ranked Seton Hall Pirates Monday, as Big Monday begins at 7:30. Then at 9:30, Rex Walters and number 4 Kansas take on Oklahoma in a Big 8 matchup. And it's a Big Monday triple header capped by Missouri and number 12 UNLV. Dexter Boney in action at midnight. That's Big Monday. That's coming Monday night. How about Syracuse? 0-3 in the Big East for the first time ever. Boston College 2-0 for the first time in 9 years in Big East play. It's been a topsy-turvy start to the league.
Well, you talk about this conference, and obviously Seton Hall, the team that maybe a notch or two above everybody else. And then after that, I think this Pittsburgh team is a team that's certainly going to challenge for the upper division. Connecticut possibly could if they get themselves going. Providence is a team that I thought might make some noise, but they've started off with 2 losses on the road here at Pittsburgh Saturday and at St. John's as well. So, but they're not, other than Seton Hall, the rest of the teams, you got a few good teams. BC, I think, is a team that possibly could battle for upper division recognition.
Like Anthony Lawrence might have gotten away with a walk, and he did knock into 3. Pitt momentarily had its largest lead at 9 points. Now it's back to 6. Rhymes dropped it off with a 2 from Chris McNeil.
Good execution there. There's the one-man press almost coming up with the steal.
Oh, Leonard Hamilton has just been given a technical. He wanted a foul on McCullough in the backcourt as he collided with Gardner and didn't get it. And Sam Croft hit him with a tee. Coach Hamilton has come close a couple of times tonight, but I think a couple of times tonight he's had a legitimate beef.
Yeah, there have been some occasions where he's actually had a case for maybe a bad call.
One of the things you forget of what we said a moment ago, it did look like Lawrence shuffled his feet before he made the 3 a moment ago. That's what he was upset about.
And apparently he had Sam Croft parked in front of him and gave him an earful and hit a magic word or 2.
Well, it's a terrible time from a Miami standpoint. He hit the technical. Pittsburgh says thank you very much as McCullough makes the first. And the second. That takes the ball away from Miami. This could be the nail in the coffin. Leonard Hamilton speaking here from here saying, I didn't deserve it for Jody Sylvester. This is the largest lead for Pitt, 10 points. McCullough has 22 of the 77 Panthers points.
He's had a solid ball game. And it's been done in workmanlike fashion here in the second half by the Panthers. Challenged early once and slowly have grinded away to the double-digit lead.
Now Paul Evans is yapping as Edwards knocked the ball away to create the steal, and Paul thought there should have been a foul. He's still shaking his head.
He only got half.
Well, the three-pointer has been available and fairly successful for the Hurricanes. Obviously down 10 with just over 2 minutes to go. You've got to think about points in a hurry. Either put the ball on the floor and get past your guy, or penetrate and kick it for a three. But whatever you do, you need to do it a little quicker than they're doing it right now.
That's a three-pointer. A couple of them in succession for Anthony Lawrence, the senior from St. Petersburg. He has 10 points, and the Panthers leads down to 7 with 1:45 to play. Grimes tried the bounce pass and hit a Hurricane foot. Burton for 2 more, and all of a sudden it's a 5-point game. Leonard Hamilton gets a timeout. Well, this has been the story of the night. The Hurricanes refuse to disappear. They're down by 5 with 1:33 remaining.
The Buick LeSabre, Family Circle Magazine's Domestic Family Car of the Year. LeSabre won by finishing first in important family categories like value, comfort, dealer satisfaction, performance, safety, style, and of course, dependability. Buick LeSabre, a welcome addition to the American family.
You own some Zadcor, right? Think I should sell it?
I got out weeks ago, right after my broker's firm downgraded the stock. Now don't tell me that your broker's still hot on it.
Who knows? I use a discounter.
A discounter? What do you think? That just because you know how to make money, you know how to invest it?
Well, I just thought that, you know...
I've got a terrific guy over at Payne Weber. Call him.
Come on, how's some broker gonna know what's right for me?
He'll ask.
The Hurricanes trail only by 5 after just a moment ago being down 10. The left foot of Anthony Lawrence is in the right place, right time, leads to the turnover. Watch this move by Burton. He looked Antigua off and then got the nice, sweet kiss off the glass. And right now, if you're Miami down 5, it's a 2-possession game with the 3-point shot. So really what you want to do here is give yourself a chance for a turnover. And I think after 15 or so seconds, maybe you try to get a poor free throw shooter to the line.
Only 1 timeout left for Miami. Both teams shooting 2 the rest of the way. The arrow points to the Hurricane.
Right there, yeah.
And a quick foul committed by Steve Edwards as he bumped McNeil.
They blew an opportunity to foul a much poorer free throw shooter. They had a chance to get Mobley and didn't get him, and McNeil, a pretty reliable free throw shooter.
And the technical by Leonard Hamilton really looms large now. Took possession away from Miami, resulted in the 2 free throws by McCullough. Even though he might have had reason to be upset once or twice, he's trying to instill poise in his young team. He could not take the technical at that time. Chris McNeil, 5 for 8 on the line tonight. He is one of 17 different players who have scored in this game. We have 7 players among the 2 teams in double figures. McNeil is one of those 7 with 12 points and double digits in boards as well with 14. Pitt by 7. Jake Morton in. Pat Lawrence out with 1:29 to play.
A 3 isn't mandatory here unless it's a good one. You just need a hoop. If it's a good 3, fine, but if not, get a good shot.
I think they might look to Steve Edwards, and they do. Morton to Edwards. He hit the deck. No whistle. Morton kept it alive.
So you're killing too much time trying to get the 3 as opposed to maybe the Panthers relaxing when you go inside.
Edwards an open 3. Timeout. That's the last for Miami. With 1 minute and 1 second remaining. And Pitt now up by 4. Now Steve Edwards' older brother Douglas probably didn't see that because he's a member of the Florida State Seminoles, and they're moments away from the tip-off with Virginia in the second half of our Big East ACC doubleheader tonight.
Well, obviously it's a game now where the Hurricanes, if they don't get an immediate turnover, have to foul because they don't have any timeouts left, and they're going to have to get some cooperation from the line. In this game Saturday against Providence, The Friars made a run similar to this late, and the Panthers were able to make just enough free throws to keep the Friars at bay.
With that three-pointer, Steve Edwards with 19 points, and that matches his career high of 19 against Georgetown on Saturday. Steve was only 1 for 7 this half prior to that three.
Well, he's got plenty of game. He showed us an awful lot of good things here tonight.
How about that score? Detroit Mercy by 20 over Notre Dame, and Marquette allowed only 16 Dayton points in the first half for Kevin O'Neal.
That Marquette team is a team that could surprise some folks in that great Midwest Conference.
Coach O'Neal starting to reap the benefits of some good recruiting classes, as is Leonard Hamilton. His recruiting class this year rated one of the top 5. The foul was on Michael Gardner.
Hasn't had the services of all of those heralded recruits. Frazier, we talked about earlier, Steve Frazier, out for the season with a torn knee ligament. William Davis yet to play because of a sprained knee ligament. Shambi High out as well with a sprained foot, and McCullough.
A big miss. He's 3 of 5 from the line, 22 points for McCullough. .84% this year coming in, only 63% last year. He made 1 out of 2. Panthers over 80 points again. They came in averaging better than 80 points per game. Jake Morton in for Pat Lawrence. Morton more of a 3-point threat. Under a minute to play. Pitt by 5. Miami ball.
Trying to get Edwards loose.
And they did get him loose for another 3. It's a 2-point game. No timeouts left for Miami. 22 points, a career high for Edwards. And Jake Morton with the quick foul.
Obviously big charity tosses here, because if you leave it at 1 out of 2, the Canes have a chance to tie it with the 3. 2 free throws here makes it a 2-possession game again.
Miami has stayed in it with a 3-point shot. McCullough made 1 out of 2 a moment ago. He made his first 17 free throws of the year. The lead is 3 with 40 seconds remaining.
You like to knock down those pressure free throws cleanly. Nothing but rope there.
Antoine Jones in for Chris McNeil.
A little more quickness, a little better defense out on the perimeter, knowing that the Hurricanes are going to look for the triple.
That's a big free throw. It's a 4-point edge. Miami needs 2 scores. They have no timeouts. McCullough with 25 points tonight. Burton off to Gardner. That's an air ball. He was worried about his feet. He was standing on the line. Fired up an air ball from 2-point range. Then the foul with 26 seconds remaining. It was on Anthony Lawrence. His first. And this is a big game for the Panthers. They've had almost entirely a home schedule to this point this year, but 4 of their next 5 are on the road in the Big East.
Well, that's why it's so much more important for them to grab the first 2 at home, and they got Providence Saturday, and right now moving closer to grabbing this one. If you're going to play and compete in your conference, you've got to win your home games, and then you need to steal a few on the road. You know it's tougher on the road simply because the home team typically just plays better and plays with more confidence.
Jones missed the first. Made the second. Panthers by 5. 25 seconds left. Burton missed it. Burton got a hand on the rebound. It's out of bounds off Rhymes. Miami ball, but they're running out of time. 16 seconds. Trying to get it in to Edwards. He was well covered by Antigua. They need any kind of a shot now. They don't have a timeout to stop the clock, even if they make it. And Pitt is going to win this one. Jones with the exclamation point. The 24th ranked Pitt Panthers with their 7th straight win. They go to 9-1 on the year for Paul Evans, but you can see signs that better days are ahead for Miami. 85-78 Pittsburgh, the final for Clark Kellogg. Sean McDonough saying so long. Once again, here's John Saunders.
All right.